last night in Oklahoma City. Dwayne Wade in his final game there, and he put on a show. So did the Heat. Paul George put up 31 tonight for the Thunder. In absence of Russell Westbrook, Jeremy Grant stepped up big, a career-high 27. But D. Wade, 25 points, scoring Dragic 26 as the Heat beat the Thunder in the series finale, 116-107, as we welcome you inside our Fox Sports Oklahoma studios into our pregame edition of Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications. I'm Lesley McCaslin alongside Antonio Daniels. Well, this first half was so exciting. There were so many lead changes, down 13, up 12. Then in the second half, AD, it got harder, down by 19, and the Thunder never seemed to get in a rhythm. What went wrong tonight?
Okay, you know, my job up here is to talk about the game that I see. That's my job. That's what we're paid to do. And what I see right now, and what I don't understand, is we're witnessing a team tonight, and you can even go back 2 nights ago, to a team that's playing with no sense of urgency. Because to me, it's not about losing. And I've said this ever since I've been blessed to cover this team. It's not about losing, it's how you lose. And when I say there's no sense of urgency, what I'm referring to is this. When you're throwing the ball all over the place, and not just turning it over, but then you're not sprinting back. When defensive rotations, and you're not even trying to rotate. When you're attacking the rim and complaining to the officials as opposed to getting back. There is no sense of urgency. But when you get down 20 points at home, now it's like, okay, let's play hard. There is no switch in basketball. There is no switch. You don't get down 20 points and say, all right, now let's start playing. No, guys are too talented. Dwayne Wade is Dwayne Wade. Goran Dragic is Goran Dragic for a reason. So when you get down 20 points and now you want to start playing hard, now for the remainder of the game, everything has to go perfect. And what I don't see right now from this team right now on a night-to-night basis consistently, is a sense of urgency, is an understanding of the situation. Because the fact of the matter is this, there's still 11 games left, and so much can happen in 11 games. This team can go on a great run and possibly get up to second or third, or you can continue to struggle and mess around and be 8th. And now you're facing the Golden State Warriors first round. So that's what's frustrating for me as a former player watching these games. The lack of sense of urgency, the lack of hustle, the lack of wanting to get back on defense, the want to, the individual ball containment and saying, you know what, listen, my guy is not going to score. I'm going to do all I have. That's the part about this that is frustrating to me, that I'm not seeing from this team right now that we saw for a lot of this year.
Well, and you can say, yeah, there's still 11 games left, or you can say there are only 11 games left.
Right.
And this is a time where you want to flip a switch, if you have one, to get things taken care of at the end of the season.
Right. I'm sorry. I get it. And people say it all the time, but what was missing tonight, and it can't be this way all the time. You're missing Russell's energy.
Yep.
You're missing him diving on the floor for loose balls and making energy plays to ignite that crowd. Because when you get down 20 points back-to-back games at home, that's a problem.
All right, time to check in with Chris Fisher and Michael Cage, the guys that were on the scene and, of course, on the call as always. Guys, what did you think was missing out there tonight at home?
Well, the Thunder got off to a really good start in this game in the first quarter, but when everything settled down, it was Miami that surged past them. And, Michael, we talked about it in the pregame show. One of the things that the Thunder had to do, it was your key to the game and getting out in transition, and that didn't happen here tonight like it did when these two teams met back in Miami on February 1st.
That's right. And when these two teams did meet on February 1st, it was all about the pace of the game. The Thunder had 23 points in transition, just 7 points. I believe, well, I scratched that, 8 points for the Heat. They flipped the script tonight. They were the winners in pushing the pace of the ball game. And I want to give the Heat credit also. That zone defense caused a little bit more problems than what I thought. It took the Thunder pretty much 3.5 quarters to figure out how to attack that zone defense and then get into transition once you were able to get in there. And then mainly at the hands of, I thought Jeremy Grant did a great job attacking the zone defense. And then when the Thunder were able to get out in transition, they got back into the ball game.
You don't want to have to face this Miami team in the half-court defense. It made things very difficult on Paul George and Dennis Schroeder. Paul George still with 31 points on the night, Mike. Dennis Schroeder, of course, in that starting role, but life life was never easy.
Well, you don't have Russell Westbrook, and, you know, that's a large part of how you drive your offense, how the points come up, and what you try to do to get into transition. But I thought Schroeder made great plays early in the ball game to get the Thunder into a nice little rhythm. Thunder had a 10-0 run to start the ball game. Everything was working great. You know, I thought the ball was moving. They got a lot of easy drives to the bucket. There was a lot of breakdowns by that zone defense by the Miami Heat. And there was some great offense, where it was some feel-good offense that got you into rhythm. And they were quick strike as well, too.
And for Paul George, 31 points, 9 out of 18 shooting. He had 4 threes on the night, 31. But again, everything was tough.
And it's hard to say that, and I say this with respect. He had a quiet 31.
Yeah.
A quiet 31, folks. That's how good he is. You know, whenever you need a bucket, you know he's going to come through. His defense is always there. You know, attacking that zone defense, again, finding and getting into the right spot. That's a lot of work for Paul George. They made him work for all 31 points. Now, keep in mind, last time these two teams met, he had 43 points off of 10 of 16 shooting from downtown. He was still good tonight. No Russell Westbrook, no Nerlens Noel. You put the ball in Dennis Schroeder's hand. You put the ball in Paul George's hand. He delivered again.
But when you're looking at that highlight, Mike, you see not one, but oftentimes 2 guys closing out on Paul George. Just so difficult. Got to give credit to that Heat defensive game plan, forcing 19 Thunder turnovers, far too many. As Michael said, just not able to get out in transition. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, guys. You're exactly right. They did make it challenging for Paul George tonight, and he did have 31. In fact, they said a quiet 31. When I saw the stat sheet, I was like, oh, wow, he had 31. Because they did. They knew Russ wasn't out there. They said, we're going to defend PG and make somebody else beat us. Now, Jeremy Grant did a very good job of it.
He was fantastic.
Before we get to him, because we're going to get to him next segment.
Right.
What did you think of the way Paul George was able to get around what they were doing to him?
Well, and this is what the league is about. And this is what the playoffs are about. You know, when you start getting to playoff time, a team's job is to take away your best player or best players. Mm-hmm. That is when the responsibility and the importance of role players becomes that much more important. If you look at the stat sheet tonight and see the fact that Terrence Ferguson was 3 of 9 from 3, and he had 9 good looks from 3. 9 really good looks for 3. What I like about what Paul George did, we can all look and say he should have been more aggressive. I think he did a great job of trusting his teammates to make plays. Because what Pop used to tell Tim Duncan and David Robinson and everybody else that I played with that got double teamed, once you get 2 guys on you, you've done your job. Now it's on everybody else on the floor to play 4-on-3 and make the right play. And sometimes the right play is just swinging the ball and finding the guy that's open. And they did a good job doing that because there was some really, really good looks. Nader got some good looks. Jeremy Grant got some good looks. Terrence Ferguson got some good looks. Dennis Schroeder. And that all comes from Paul George's star power.
Well, where they did make it a little hard for him was on the turnovers, and that was for the entire team. PG had 5, but the whole team had 19, so that was a struggle tonight as well.
And we've talked about this numerous times. And as we sit there, we just sit and talk back and forth about the game and everything that's going on. You can't turn the ball over 19 times and win the game. You can't expect that against a very good defensive team. Miami's not known for their offense. What they're known for, any team that is from the Pat Riley tree and Eric Spoelstra tree, they're a really good defensive team. As Michael and Fish talked about in the pregame, they're gritty. They're gritty. They play Eastern Conference basketball. They want to slow you down. They want to play a zone. They're very deliberate in what they do defensively. It's very difficult to go on a run and make a run when you're constantly giving them the ball.
You know how many tweets I get about people that would love to come and watch the game with you? I think I should sell tickets. I can make quite the profit on this. And let me tell you, folks, it is very exciting.
No, it's not. No,
it's only not. For our eyes only. All right. You get a glimpse of it right here on our post-game show. Coming up, we'll talk about Jeremy Grant, who was so good tonight. Fantastic. And again, continue to break this one down here on Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications. Thunder Live is brought to you by Cox Communications. With the Contour Sports app from Cox, you can watch the Thunder live and track multiple games at once, all right there on your TV. Visit cox.com/contour to learn more. And by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. Welcome back to Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications, as we take a look at the final stats, 116 to 107. Yeah, the note that's not up there is that the bench was outscored 67 to 10.
Killer.
Yeah.
I mean, you get 67 points off your bench.
Woof.
You get 67 points off your bench. That's
well,
and
we
talked about this at halftime. Right, you're bringing an all-star backcourt off your bench. You know what I mean? With the Miami Heat.
Fair.
I mean, that's the way it goes. And you're bringing an all-star backcourt off your bench, so that's something that's going to come along with it. But, you know, we put a stat in the pregame show about the Thunder's record when they have 25 assists or more. Mm-hmm. And I believe it was 25-5. And right now, this team is struggling to get to 20 assists. Again, tonight, in the first 6 minutes of the game, they had 6 assists. Mm-hmm. The first 6 minutes of the game, you have 6 assists. It looks
so good to start.
Right. And for the next 42, you have 15. The ball is not moving. It is not moving. And I know that if I can see this, that they can see this. I know that. And when you start going into the playoffs and you're playing against really good teams, let's not even talk about the playoffs. Let's talk about the next 11 games, okay? Where you have Milwaukee, you have Houston, you have Toronto twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a tough schedule that is still ahead. These are really good defensive teams. Defensive teams. I play on really bad teams and really good teams. The really good defensive teams that I played on, you love for people to go one-on-one. That plays right into your defensive philosophy. What you don't want is the ball to move, players to move, back cuts. It's tough to scout when the team that you're guarding doesn't know where they're moving. They just are moving. And what you see a lot with this team is where you see the offense start to get bogged down. And it's a lot of one-on-one individual basketball that's easy to defend.
And it becomes predictable. Another thing that was interesting from the stats was that in transition, the Thunder was outscored 18-7, which rarely happens. And again, that's another factor of Russell Westbrook not being in the game, because
that's a huge factor of Russell Westbrook not being in the game.
Break, and that just shows you the impact he has when he's out there on the floor. But somebody else that was all over the floor tonight was Jeremy Grant. You said mid-game that he is keeping the Thunder in this. A new career high, 27 points. He is our fourth player of the game. How did he have such a big impact?
You know, there's something to be said for a high basketball IQ, which means, you know what? I'm going to put myself in a position to score, understanding and knowing what I do well. And you see a lot of his points are coming at the front of the rim and at the rim. Because when they are in a zone, and I heard Michael and Fish allude to this earlier, you want a guy that can catch and finish. Not catch and bring it down, not catch and get stripped, but catch and finish at the rim. And tonight, if Jeremy Grant doesn't show up like he did tonight, this would easily have been a runaway maybe for the Miami Heat. He kept the Thunder in the game for the majority of this game tonight. He was fantastic.
Easily the most improved player on this team.
Easily. Because of his consistency. And that's the thing about Jeremy Grant that I love, is you know what you're going to get from him. You know what you're going to get from him. Every single night, you know what Jeremy Grant's going to bring. He's going to bring that three-point shot, corner shot. He's going to defend the rim both ways, taking charges and blocking shots. You're going to get energy, you're going to get effort, and you are going to get a guy that can catch and finish at the rim. That's consistency. He's going to give you 10 to 15 points every night, unless it's a night like tonight where his usage rate is up. You know, he's putting himself in a position to be successful. I love the strides that he has been making since he's been here in Oklahoma City. Completely different player than when he got here from Philadelphia.
Yeah, he gets better each year. In fact, it was his birthday last week. We are birthday buddies, and so are you. Happy early birthday tomorrow. Thought I'd fit that in. All right, so where do the Thunder stand? Well, let's take a look around the league and a push to the playoffs and figure out what happened tonight and where the Thunder will be now. Okay, Utah and Washington out to the Capitol. Check out the 7th-seeded Jazz. Rudy Gobert dominating early here with this dunk and one. Rudy Gobert so hard to defend. Second quarter and the Wiz are fighting back. Jabari Parker here makes it a three-point game, but the Jazz were too much down the stretch. Rudy Gobert, again, such a hard guy to go against with another dunk. That pushes the lead to 25. They ended up winning by 11, pull within a game of the Thunder. On to Beantown, where MVP candidate Nikola Jokic takes on Kyrie Irving and the Celtics. Here's the Joker with the hook shot here. That gives him a first half double-double. Second half now, Kyrie Irving. And he'll knock down the three to put Boston up 1. On to the fourth quarter. This time, more Jokic. From downtown, he can do it everywhere. That'll end this one. Nuggets won on the road, 114 to 105. Okay, so let's take a look at the standings, see if we can get this all figured out. Thunder fall to 6th because San Antonio also beat Golden State. And, of course, the Jazz hanging in there just a half game behind. So, as you mentioned earlier, AD, yeah, the Thunder have the tiebreaker over the Blazers, but it won't matter if they don't stay up there with them.
Yeah, and like when I'm up here, I am speaking from a player's perspective, strictly from a player's perspective. Right now, you are a game out of 8th.
That's
a game out of 8.
Crazy.
Do you know what that means? Basically, that is the equivalent of the Thunder losing a game and the Clippers winning a game. That's it. That's it. The Thunder lose, the Clippers win. Now you're in 8th place. You know, so when I talk about the fact that there are 11 games left, what you want to see in the last 11, counting tonight as 12, is that sense of urgency and understanding the situation that's at hand here.
Well, and you really want to be in the top 4 where you get home court advantage in those first 2 games.
You do not want to start off the playoffs on the road. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have to.
Yeah, it's just harder. You have that travel day. If they end up going up Portland, that's a 4-hour flight. Like, there's just so many variables, but you hope to stay in those top 4. 11 games left. We'll see what happens. Okay, a little bit more around the league because there was also something notable that happened tonight in Dallas. Dirk Nowitzki passes Wilt in the 30-point club, 6th all-time scoring now. And, of course, a big ovation, one of the best. Dirk, so great. 31,424 career points as we think he is wrapping up his final season, right? We think. Not official like Dwayne Wade.
Right.
All right, so here's the list. And there he stands, tall among some of the league's best. I mean, if you had any question of what Dirk has meant to this game, just look at the names he stands among.
If anybody else has any question what Dirk has meant to this game, they have not watched the NBA for very long. Yes. He has completely revolutionized the game of basketball.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible. And fun to see Luka Doncic come up behind him now.
Right, the best European player to ever play in this league.
Yeah,
easily.
Pretty cool. All right. We've got more coming your way because we haven't heard from Billy Donovan yet. So we caught you up on the league. Now we'll catch you up more on the Thunder. See what they have to say after 2 tough losses at home. Stick around for more Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications. Next. Thunder drop. Let me try that again. Drop their 3rd straight.
See it again really fast.
No,
really fast.
116 to 107. Hey, it just gives us something to laugh about tonight against the Heat. Tough loss. Let's hear what Billy Donovan had to say.
Well, I thought our guys came out and, got off to a great start. I actually thought we played really, really well through the majority of that first quarter. Then when they came in with Dragic and Wade, we had a hard time stopping those guys, and they obviously went on an incredible run with their second unit. I thought, for the entire game, I thought our guys competed and played, really, really hard. I just thought their bench, tonight really played exceptionally well, made shots. And then I thought the other part of it, too, for us is I thought we had really some crucial, timely turnovers that, kind of maybe stopped some momentum for us. But overall, I thought competitively, the way our guys battled and fought for the full 48 minutes, I was pleased with. I thought the difference was, they got obviously, their Wade and Dragic played really, really well tonight coming off the bench.
Billy, I know there's a lot of games to go, and you've talked about how it's kind of a process to get to the end of the season, playing a lot of these good teams, tough schedule. But at what point do you start to worry about the results? I think you're 4-9, dating back to your double overtime game against the Jazz.
I'm not sure I understand the question, Royce. I'm sorry.
When do you start to worry, basically?
Worry? What do you mean, like worry? Like what is like worry in terms of?
Worry about not winning.
No, I'm not worried about that. We got really, really good guys, and this is part of it. We're playing a really, really hard schedule. We played 8 games in 14 days. I mean, I don't necessarily worry about it. I try to, I think every game gives you kind of answers to the test of things that you have to do as it relates to your identity as a team. And then you have to address those things, and you have to get better at those things, and you improve on them. But I think go in and just say, like, I'm worried, about it. We've got to, I think for us it's been different things on different nights. Tonight, I think, how well their bench played, when they came in, that impacted the game. And then I thought our turnovers, but, our guys, again, they battled and competed and did gave everything that they had. And I think to your point, we're obviously playing a really, really challenging, difficult schedule. And I've said that before the game. I think that's really good for our team. I think we need to see that every game. I think it, makes you tougher. It makes you have to grind. It makes you understand what it actually, you have to do. And we got really, really competitive guys. And, they're going to take on the challenge. We didn't shoot the ball well tonight from behind the line. I thought we had some pretty good looks. I thought our ball movement was good tonight. But I'm not necessarily worried, about that. I mean, obviously we want to win. Everybody, coaches and players, put a lot into it. But I think that you have to look at, the big picture as it relates to, why you win, why you lose, so to speak, and things you have to get better at.
Billy, y'all start off first 5 minutes, get out to the big lead, and then the last 7 minutes they really take off, and they scored 27 points. What do you attribute, those last 7 minutes of the quarter, them being able to get some comfort offensively when y'all started off as strong as you did, not just defensively, but being able to kind of penetrate their zone with some passes?
Yeah, no, we did a really nice job. I thought what happened was there was a couple of possessions where we got caught going under on Dragic on some pick and rolls, and he stopped behind it and made some threes. That kind of gave them some momentum. We had some missed shots where they were able to get out in transition and able to finish those. And like I said, I think their bench played really, really well. I mean, Wade and Dragic came off the bench, and Johnson came off the bench, and I thought those guys, gave him a lift. I know Whiteside didn't play a lot, in the game per se, but he came in there with that group as well. But, right when they started to sub, they got a nice, those guys came off the bench making shots and, made timely shots, and they made tough shots.
You guys saw a lot of zone against the Nets, and you kind of broke it down in that second half, and obviously Russ had a lot to do with that. How much not having him tonight and not having his ability to kind of knife into Miami's zone? I
actually thought, Royce, we did a really good job against the zone. I mean, we got the ball where we wanted it to go. I thought we got it into the middle of the zone. I thought we made some really good passes, and particularly in the first half. I think like anything else in the zone, when the ball gets to the middle of the teeth of the defense, you got to be able to make the next pass, and it's got to lead to a shot. And, our shooting, tonight from behind the line wasn't great, but I liked the way we attacked the zone. I think the result of the ball going in the basket probably wasn't as good as we would have liked. I thought early in the game we did a really, really good job. We got a couple and ones. We got some penetration. We found some guys along the baseline. We found three-point shooters. I thought we did a pretty good job against their zone. I didn't think that, we were laboring, so to speak. I think we got the ball to the teeth of their defense, and, sometimes we made some, sometimes we didn't. But overall, I thought we tried to move the ball against it.
All right, AD, thoughts on what Billy had to say?
One of the things that was evident tonight, because of the zone that they played, and if you go back to the game in Miami, the one thing I remember, Russ picked their zone apart. He collapsed their defense so much by just pushing the basketball, collapsing defense, kicking out. See, it helps when the ball goes in, then the shooter hit his first 9 shots. But a lot of that came from Russell Westbrook pushing the ball.
Pushing the pace.
Right, yep. Pushing the pace, collapsing defense. That wasn't there tonight. It wasn't there. And I mean, the thing is, there's, for me, and I'm going to go back to what I started off with. It's not losing. It is not losing. It's how you lose games that individually, when you get in the car and you're driving home, that you're looking at, that you're remembering. Collectively, as a unit, it's how you lost the game that you're worried about. There are times throughout the course of games where you understand and realize, you didn't hustle, and it's going to be on the film the next day. We used to have a saying, film don't lie. Film don't lie. We can think however we want to think when the game is over, but when you go in the next day and you're sitting in that film room, if you did not hustle back, it will show. If you turn the ball over and you did not hustle back, it will show. If you thought you got fouled and you're sitting there talking to the official and the Miami Heat are pushing the ball up the floor 3-on-5, it will show. This time of the year where you want to be playing your best basketball, you got to cut out those mental lapses. It's impossible to play 48 minutes of great basketball on both sides. You're going to have mental lapses. That's why you have the ebb and flows of a game, the ups and downs. This time of the year, you want to cut down on those mental lapses.
Well, hopefully they'll do that before Wednesday night's game against Toronto. Obviously, two big games coming up against the Raptors Wednesday and Friday, but the first one is at home. So stick around. Coming up next on Thunder Live, we will preview the next two matchups against the same team. Stick around when Thunder Live by Cox Communications returns. Thunder Live is brought to you by Cox Communications. With the Contour Sports app from Cox, you can watch the Thunder live and track multiple games at once, all right there on your TV. Visit cox.com/contour to learn more. And by your Oklahoma Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Oklahoma. Thunder Live is brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
I'd like to bring up my friend, my mentor, my brother, Nick Collison. Come on, Nick. He's somebody I always looked up to, man. It's a real pleasure to have him here. Just want to make sure you guys show him some love.
I can't hear you anyway.
It's okay. I'll wait. I'm not sure if it's his last season or not, but man, he's somebody I always looked up to as a brother. He's done so much for me in this organization. I just want to make sure you guys gave him a standing ovation for the things he's done for this city, for Oklahoma City. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Okay, yeah.
I'm not crying. My eyes are sweaty.
Of course, they will retire Nick Collison's jersey before Wednesday night's game. It will be very special, Mr. Thunder. So excited to see that happen. Be sure you tune in at 8 o'clock on Fox Sports Oklahoma to see the pregame festivities. All right, and then the game. Here's Chris Fisher and Michael Cage with the preview.
The Thunder conclude this three-game homestand on Wednesday night, welcoming the Toronto Raptors for the first time to Oklahoma City. And, Michael, the Thunder are going to try to salvage a win, but it's not going to be against an easy opponent by any means. One of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, led by first-year head coach Nick Nurse, a newly tooled Toronto Raptors team, of course, with the addition of Kawhi Leonard.
That's right. Kawhi Leonard is certainly in the what you call MVP conversation. He's been there all season long, having another outstanding season. The recently acquired Marc Gasol has also been a big plus as well. They got a big man they can go to inside. He plays very physical. Pascal Siakam, he's one of those guys who likes to play in transition. He's a Jeremy Grant of the East. He likes to attack from very vantage points in the offense. He's very athletic, and he can get up and down in transition.
He's one of the most improved players in the NBA, and we're going to get to see him front and center here on Wednesday night. It's the first of two in a row against the Toronto Raptors before the Thunder will return to Toronto on Friday, but still going to try to salvage one game on this three-game homestand. A tough opponent who the Thunder have beaten 3 consecutive times. They'll try to make it 4 here on Wednesday night. Leslie, AD, we'll send it back to you.
All right, in front of Mr. Thunder, hopefully they'll make it happen on Wednesday night. Well, Dennis Schroeder, of course, stepped up in the absence of Russell Westbrook tonight in that starting position, 20 points, 6 assists. Let's hear what he had to say after the game.
Dennis, seemed like you guys were making the extra pass tonight, hustling for loose balls. How'd you feel about just the way the ball bounced tonight?
It was great. I think we played together. I think that's when we are at our best, move the ball, play with pace. Yeah.
What was missing, either defensively or offensively tonight, or what were they doing at a high level?
Hit some tough shots. We forced them, to shoot, and I'm paying twos. And D-Wade, and Dragic. They did a great job, tonight. Credit to them. We got to move forward.
Dennis, during the stretch where you guys are, losing more than you're winning, do you feel like breaks aren't going your way? Do you feel like you guys are struggling? What's at the bottom of it?
I mean, you just got to keep working. Every game, try to get better as a team. Just play together, do everything together, especially during tough stretches like we going through now. Just got to stay together as a team. I think it's not going to be the whole year without struggling, without losing 2-3 games in a row. And I think the best teams, they staying together and just fight through it. It's going to come our way.
All right, fight through it. Hopefully they will, starting on Wednesday with that tough back-to-back against the Raptors. Final thoughts, AD, after this one? 3 in a row now, 2 at home.
I mean, the thing is, the best thing about this league is you don't get a lot of time before you get an opportunity to kind of pick yourself back up. Mm-hmm. You think about it, it's Monday. They play again on Wednesday. That's no time. So basically, you have tomorrow to go over and watch the film, see what you can correct, and move forward, and then you worry about Wednesday's game. But the schedule is unforgiving. It is unforgiving. You look at it, you have Toronto twice this week. Toronto's a really good team. You have Memphis in there, a team that's not playing for much, and then you have an Indiana Pacers team coming in that rallied from 19 points down 2 games ago. So, yeah, I agree with exactly what Dennis said. You're going to go through different stretches of the season where you struggle as a team. And the most important thing that you can do during that time of struggle, which is exactly the most important thing you can do during the time of success, is to remain positive and stay together, but realistic. So, yeah, you always want to stay together. You always want to be together. You never want to allow a struggle to pull you apart. But in staying together, you also want to be realistic and accountable to one another.
All right, 11 games to go in the regular season. Next up, Toronto on Wednesday night. We will all be out at Chesapeake Energy Arena. Should be fun to welcome in Nick Collison and see his jersey retired there at Chesapeake Arena. All right, thanks so much for joining us again. The Thunder fall by 9 to the Miami Heat. They'll have a chance to get things turned around later this week. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Thunder Live, powered by Cox Communications.